Hello VW execs, and thank you for inviting us back to dig deeper into the ethical problems of the issue we posed yesterday. As you do recall, yesterday we talked about the fact that 10 monkeys were tested on in this facility in New Mexico and exposed to hours on end of nitric oxide. That has been known to cause DNA strand breaks, which can potentially be mutagenic in these species. In addition, this nitric oxide can react with oxygen in our lungs to form nitrogen dioxide, a known pulmonary irritant. The publication of this news has led to a $9.6 billion loss in our value and a negative public image that we must mend. However, the fact that we tested on these monkeys is not the root of our ethical problems. The fact is that back in 2014, in our original diesel emission scandal, it shed light on an internal sickness within your company. VW has continued to promote a positive brand image, however, has failed to meet that standard in these past two events. We need to mend these problems in the future because a negative public image can result in loss of sales, but also will prevent us from creating long-term brand loyalty amongst our customers, avoiding unnecessary risk in the future, as we saw in the BP oil disaster of 2010. Price cutting to safety cuts to meet a better bottom line led to a huge disaster, causing 11 deaths and millions of gallons spilled into the Gulf of Mexico, which had a far wider range of effects than we could have ever imagined. We must solve this problem soon because in order to establish this long-term image we want to, we must not only have the public view us as the positive company we want to be, but we must be that internally. I'll pass it on to Jackson to talk about how this negative sickness within our company has manifested into the actions of some of our employees here at VW, some of your employees.
Thank you, Jack. We believe that all of the negative press that VW has received recently is a direct result of this fundamental ethical issue at the company. Let me take you through a decision that reflects this issue in the company. Not only did VW approve the testing on animals for their emissions, but they approved the Lovelace Respiratory Research Institute in Albuquerque, New Mexico as the location to conduct these experiments. Even most cursory research reveals that this research facility has perpetrated numerous animal rights violations over the past decade, being investigated at least 18 times and fined upwards of $20,000. These are for violations of the Animal Welfare Act of 1966, an act that finds its roots in the ethical and humane treatment of animals. The approval of this location reflects a complete disregard for the health, safety, and life of animals. And this is only one example. Jack mentioned the emissions scandal in 2014, the decision to test on animals in the first place. The list extends all the way back to World War II. In most cases, the employees responsible for the decisions were terminated and an apology was issued. But at a certain point, the ethical obligation extends beyond the employees, and an apology does not cover the wound. VW has fostered a corporate environment that enabled these decisions to be made without ethical consideration. VW has failed to even establish a clear code of ethics, let alone ensure that it's instilled throughout the company. If VW continues to address ethics this way, addressing them only retroactively after they've been caught, it will never restore its reputation in the eyes of the consumer. If VW wants to repair its reputation, you need to take a strict and proactive stance on ethics, establish clear expectations, and ensure that they're understood and followed throughout the company. VW is a successful and established brand that's recently fallen victim to the trap of prioritizing profits over integrity. I'm sure you agree with me that the recent decisions and the recent publicity surrounding VW are not reflective of its core values. So let's work together to establish and publish clear corporate values to ensure that we can repair our reputation and maintain it for years to come. Ned's going to talk a little bit more about how we can do this.
So you at Volkswagen have spent over 80 years cultivating your corporate identity to be one that resonates with your consumers. And you guys have done that. Yesterday I spoke about how my first car was a Volkswagen Jetta, and that my parents wanted that because it got me from home to school to soccer practice and then back home safely, all while representing a brand with great values. But what I didn't tell you is that my mom's first car was also a Jetta, and she chose me to have first car because of her love for the company and that brand. Now, we at JDPC are a PR consulting firm that specializes in large corporations' public image. However, we know that this problem has to come from the inside out in order to change. Now, there's no short-term solution that will fix our problem as the culture of VW is what is currently at stake and what is currently troubling many of the consumers. We don't want to provide a short-term solution like the sugar industry did in the 1960s when they hired Harvard professors to conduct research in order to sway the public's opinion of sugar's dietary health benefits. Just like Volkswagen created the EUGT 10 years ago in order to sway the public's opinion on diesel's environmental friendliness, we know that this was not the right thing to do and that our solution is going to be much more long-term. With the emission scandal 3 or 4 years ago, as well as this release of the animal testing scandal, we see that there is a pattern. And with this pattern, there needs to be inner change, and that stems from creating a mission statement, which Volkswagen currently does not have. With this mission statement, it will find a solution for the unethical behavior that has been conducted in the Volkswagen company, and also will show the lack of oversight that has rendered these unethical choices. Through a top-down approach of holding top executives accountable, which you have done by firing the executives on the EUGT, but that is only a short-term solution. This mission statement will instill corporate values and be the driving force behind all decision-making within the company. We at JDPC, PR consulting firm, are here to help you fix this problem and this negative pattern by creating a positive corporate culture for VW's long-term success in the industry and continue as the #1 car manufacturer in the world.
As Ned mentioned, it is very important to start internally because as we saw in the 2014 emissions, we are very familiar with public relations management. So we saw that this testing was a sense of a solution for the 2014. We wanted to create a better public image of diesel. However, we failed. That's why we noticed that the problem must come from the internal out because VW can find themselves in situations like this continually in the future if we don't fix the root of the problem, which is internal positive public corporate identity and in private identity as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.